I just know that in August of 2000, actually probably June of 2016, if truth be told, that's when Mike Hall and I, we had our conversations, because Mike and I were partners in an outside insurance marketing organization. We were running our own marketing organization, or at least attempting to. And we had extremely high contract levels. But along with high contract levels came the reality that we had to pay for everything. We had to pay for mail drops. And I'm just going to tell you this, mail drop companies out there, they aren't going to drop for you when you just call them up and say, hey, we're good for it. Come on, man. Come on, do me a solid, man. Come on, man, do me a solid, man. Drop mail for me, man. I'll pay you on the back. They don't play that. And as a matter of fact, not only do they require money up front, they require several weeks up front from a contractual standpoint. And I'm not saying that to scare you, but I'm just saying that as far as reality. So when we decided to join Equus, we made the decision that, hey, these 135, 140 comp levels that we had trying to run our own deal, we'll gladly go back to 120% contract level, and we will gladly position our organization under the Equus Blue. And it was the very best decision we've ever made. So if you read my post this morning, you possibly can deduct from that, hey, to John Kight, Equus Financial's support system, back office, website, leads, all of the technology that they've invested in, it was well worth the 15, 20 points we gave up to come to Equus. And so I certainly, and I've said this for a long time, I think you can take your contract level and you can add 15, a good 15, conservatively 15 points to it. And that's what your contract level value is on street level, in the marketplace. So now some people believe that. Some people go, John, you're just saying that. Okay, well, no big deal. But I'm just saying, to me, that is what we hang our hat on. Now, I said all that to say this. Well, Equus Financial, they have blown the lid off their comp structure. I don't know how they've done it. All I can tell you is Barry Clarkson told us, well, it was longer than last year. It's probably about, I don't know, maybe 15, 16 months ago. He said, hey, this partnership with Integrity Marketing Group, it's going to allow us to do some really, really good things. And I really didn't know. I mean, we didn't talk about specifics. We didn't say, okay, good things like it's going to let us do this. It's going to let us, no. But I'm going to tell you what, the only thing I can imagine is that this opportunity we have, this new comp grid that goes up to 140%. If you have the ability, or you develop the ability to build distribution, you can build your comp level all the way up to 140%, while all the time, okay, while earning an override of the entire company. Okay, so it's not a 140, or it's not an equity bonus, or it's a 140 comp level structure, comp level grid, and it also involves an override of the entire company. It just blows my mind that Barry was able to do that. I'm thankful. Today's today. We kick off that. It is June 1st, 2021, and man, 90 days to write your own contract. What does that mean? Okay, so 90 days, you get the opportunity to explode up contract levels. Let's say that, and I don't, maybe this would happen, I don't know, but let's just say you're on a 70 or 80% contract level, 90% contract, I don't know, whatever contract level. Instead of kicking butt, taking names, and promoting yourself up one level each time, so you promote yourself up one level every 2 months. Okay, so that's the usual trek up the comp grid, right? Okay, well, for the next 90 days, summer of 2012, you have the ability to skip levels. So let's say you were on a 70% contract level and you did the requirements, which is 40,000 in back-to-back months. You could promote yourself all the way from a 70, and you can skip every level all the way up to 120% contract level. And you can do that over the next 90 days. Okay, so that is the summer of 212. I'm going to really quick read off. Well, you know what, guys, this is so cool. And thanks, Tammy, for sending me the paid numbers as well. Top 5 paid numbers for anybody that cares, right? Top 5 paid numbers. Jeffrey, let me tell you a story about a man named Jed Nat, got paid for helping 3 families for $5,600. Andrew Pappas, former meter reader, now multi-6-figure income earner, got paid for helping 9 families for $7,839. Good to see you back in the top part of the leaderboard, AP. Daniel McCrae, who lives in the top part of the leaderboard, helped 5 families. Got paid for helping 5 families for $12,600. Travis Chison, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right because it is so cool. He's going to be one of the guests on today's call. He got paid for helping 4 families for a little over $13,000. That is awesome, Travis. And Carolyn Bowman, part of the team No Limits. Carolyn got paid for helping 1 family for $14,274. That's a big family right there, Carolyn Bowman. I hope that they make your Christmas card list. So anyway, those are the top 5 paid agents. Very, very proud of you guys. And top 25 submit leaderboard. These are uncapped numbers. Number 25, Lee Miller, 4 families, $4,200. Twyana Johnson, make sure I get that name right. 10 families, count them. What are they about? 10. $4,201. Matt Pertusit, rock and roll Pertusit, 1 family, $4,554. Christian Bastardo, 5 families, $5,024. Big time virtual sales agent there. Lisa Kurtz, 3 families, $5,366. Barry Tuzo, 4 families, $5,551. Barry, I'm telling you what, buddy, you solid as an oak, man. Solid as an oak. Najee Truesdale, 2 families, $5,690. Andrew Pappas, 9 families, $5,699. Kyle Van Loo, and by the way, guys, I should be reading off these titles because they're big time important. Kyle Van Loo, sales manager, got paid for 8 families, $5,752. Kyle is a virtual agent as well. Tyler Bosch, sales manager, 6 families, $5,834. Joshua Collar, sales manager, 5 families. Look at all these managers, man, out there leading from the front. 5 families, $6,172. Louis Grignano, 3 families, $6,244. Zachary Shank, 4 families, $6,610. Todd Carter, TC, baby, 5 families, $6,712. Jeffrey, let me tell you a story about a man named Jed Nat, salesman. By the way, Jeffrey, you knocked it out of the park this weekend too, man. Sales manager, 6 families for $6,796. Something brewing down there in Myrtle Beach, man. Jeffrey's killing it. Carlos Bastardo, regional manager, leading from the front, guys. Check this out. 9 families for $9,910. Todd Pickering, one of the guests on today's call, sales manager, 3 families, $10,021. Number 8, Daniel McCrae, national manager, lives in the top, 5 families, $10,037. Mark Jean A., 4 families, $12,477. Douglas Wright, 11 families, $12,710. Greg Haggart, 1 family, $15,498. Johnny Roberts, senior sales manager, 6 families, $16,118. Travis Chison, 5 families, $21,840. Flora Roa, senior sales manager, 10 families, $26,521. And the number 1 agent, submit agent for the week is district manager Stanley Smith. He submitted 9 applications for $92,081. Stan Smith, rock and roll, brother. You are flat out amazing. Friggin' amazing. Already been paid on, as of a few weeks ago, already been paid on $111,000. So far for the year. It's incredible the pace that you're on, Stanley. And I mean, we ain't even gotten to the best part of the year yet, right? So rock and roll. All right, now to get to my guest. Okay, first guest, she's on for just a few minutes, but she's got a very important announcement. So listen up, guys. And Miss Kristen Brockman, do I have you out there?
Good morning, JK, and good morning, Cornerstone.
KB, hey, social media. How important is it for all of us to be in stride with Equus Financial and for Equus to be in stride with us? Like, talk about this relationship.
All right, so it's so important. We, we're on a few social platforms. We have Facebook, we have LinkedIn, we have Instagram and YouTube. Last week, we rolled out TikTok. So if you do not have an account with all of these platforms, you need to make that an action item today. You need to go in, you need to like, and you need to share everything. If you start posting things, tag Equus Financial, because we want to start sharing and engaging with all of your things. You know, today's June 1st, and we have Write Your Own Contract. We have our 140 comp, and we have the equity bonus. We need to be getting this out all over social, and we need to unite together as Equus Nation. And if we all work together, guys, this can be so big. Social is huge for us. Think about everybody that is on all of these platforms. So we need your help. So if you can go on all of our pages, like, start following us, start engaging, and then tag Equus Financial in all of your posts. And the creative team wants to start sharing and engaging with you. And this can do some really, really big things.
Hey, we will do that. We will get on that. We will be totally in stride with Equus Financial. As you know, the Cornerstone Group, we love Equus Financial, and so thankful that for the platform that we're able to run on, and so thankful for you and your department there in Lynchburg, Virginia. Like we always say in this organization, leads for lead-driven sales. Leads are our oxygen. So, Kristen, I'm just going to throw this at you. Don't want to put you on the spot, but is there anything that we need to know on the lead front? I mean, going into this summer, Write Your Own Contract. You know, 99% of our agents are all lead driven. Anything we need to know about Opt? Anything we need to know about? Are you seeing a specific lead type that is growing, that people are having success in, that maybe we need to check out?
So last week we had a record 5,600 direct mail IVR leads that we imported leads into our system. So this is the time, look into the inventory, instant purchase leads. Get those leads. I'm telling you, we have the instant internet leads too. Take advantage. We have no excuses for no leads because we have so many leads. We were prepared for June 1st because we want everybody to have those comp levels. So our leads are up. And we're going to keep getting them. I'm telling you guys, I said it in Dallas, we are going to get to 6,000 leads really, really fast. So take advantage, put your standing lead orders in, go into the instant internet lead inventory, put that alert on to get notified, and take advantage for all of these leads coming in.
Love it. Thank you so much, Kristen, for coming and joining us today. Guys, as we throw the rest of the call over to Mr. Joe Skelly, I just want to say this, and I made a really long post this morning. I hate when my posts get too long because I do know that X's out a certain percentage of people that will actually read it. But I really do feel like the content of today's message will probably, hopefully, will be the theme for the rest of the summer. I actually did something crazy recently, and I spent $100 for a book, and it's not even a big book, but the book is called Greatness, and I saw the advertisement for it. I'm not recommending that you guys get it, okay? Not yet, anyway, okay? But I did start reading the beginning part of the book this weekend, and the thing that I loved is that in the very beginning of the book, it talked about what's the biggest predictor of success when you look at an individual, okay? And this guy, he's very much geared towards sports, okay, because that's been his career. But success principles are universal, right? But this guy basically wrote a book, and it's all of his experience as far as being in the huddles, being on the sidelines, being in the team rooms and all of this. But he said the biggest predictor of success, sports-wise, business, anything, boils down to three things. Talks about focus, talks about passion, and talks about mental toughness. And so when I read that, I just went, man, like what a cool confirmation, I guess, that that we typically focus on right things. You know, if this guy in all of his experience would have said, okay, the biggest predictor of success is this, this, and this. And if I look back and go, man, we aren't even talking about those three things. Well, you know, so the cool thing was getting confirmation and just seeing that hey, these focus, okay, which I wrote about this morning, and I didn't even write about it from the book's perspective, but I wrote about it from the perspective that we've been teaching it. But focus, passion, and mental toughness. So if you didn't read the message this morning, listen, I don't blame you. I don't like reading long stuff either, but let me challenge you that to grade yourself as we go into this summer of 212. Let me challenge you to grade yourself on those three areas, okay? Focus, passion, and mental toughness. Grade yourself. I know that it's wishful thinking for me thinking I can take and spend an hour with every single one of you, okay? I can't. But what I can do is I can spend time with you. If you will text me, if you'll email me, okay? I mean, I've posted my numbers all over everywhere, my emails all over everywhere, but I would love to engage. If you have questions, if you're able to identify, like if you grade yourself on those three areas and you go, man, I'm sucking, man, I've been stumbling, I've not been focused, I've not been very passionate, my mental toughness has been horrible. You know, let's identify why that is, okay? But let's get you going now, okay? It's day one of this 90-day, this summer of 212. Okay, you're going to snap your fingers. Okay, mark my words. You're going to snap your fingers, and we're going to be talking about July 4th. You're going to snap your fingers, and we're going to be talking about kids going back to school middle part of August. Snap your fingers, and we're going to be talking about preseason NFL games on, and can you believe that fall's almost here and all this stuff. Snap your fingers, and we're going to be talking about Labor Day weekend. Okay, guys, what I'm saying is that the next 90 days, they're going to go by so fast. Last year, hear me, last year, June, July, and August were the biggest 3 months of the entire year. That's not normal. Normal is latter part of August going into September, October, November, and up through about December 22nd. Typically are the biggest production months, biggest recruiting months. Like hands down, there's not another time of year that can typically rival the fall. Guys, last year, the summer, and I don't know if it was 212 base, whatever, but all I know is this. Last year, the biggest 3 months in Equus's entire year were in the summer. This is possibly going to happen this year, okay? June, July, and August. So go take it seriously, guys. Go write your contract and listen today, okay? We've got Joe Skelly on. Listen, this guy and his team, in their third month, the month of May, their third full month of being with the Equus family, they go out and they're at 107,000. Listen to me now, 107,000. Why? Well, I think what they're going to be talking about today, which is Index Universal Life, I know this for a fact. Index Universal Life, tax-free retirement, be your own banker. It is a sleeping giant. It is a sleeping giant. And guys, I hope that today you're able to pick up on something that these guys are doing over and above mortgage protection and final expense sales that absolutely make you a ton of money this summer and allow you to explode your contract level. So, Mr. Joe Skelly, I'm turning the rest of the call over to you, brother.
All right, Mr. John Kight, I appreciate you. I always want to start with an attitude of gratitude and just thank you for all of your support between you, Mike Hall, Brett Grossman. All of you guys have been instrumental in really helping us transition over, to the Equus family. We felt like family almost since day one. So thank you. And I certainly am grateful for having the opportunity just to share with everybody a little bit about, what it is that we do with the Index Universal Life product. Obviously, we see this as a huge opportunity. Obviously, we are, I still feel like we're brand new here with the company, but I guess as of today, we're all brand new to this new comp plan. And so we're super excited, about what lies ahead, for our group. And, I also want to thank a lot of the other individuals too. I mean, there's a lot of leaders within the Cornerstone Group that have reached out, we're quickly becoming friends, business partners, and we're all here to support one another. And I love the fact that we're all in this thing together. And so, I'm grateful at the opportunity of being able to share, a little bit about the IULs today. And hey, man, I'm sure that the guys, and gals on the team will have some questions, with some of the other individuals. So, we kind of all help each other. It's just as far as, the leads and things like that, which we're all now starting to really dig into. A lot of the business, I guess I'll tell you, a lot of the stuff that we were working on, some of this stuff, was being worked on before we got here. And we just kind of picked up, where we left off. Because in 2020, our group wasn't working on any lead source at all. And interestingly enough, 5 of us ended up having a record year. Now, I'll tell you, when COVID hit, we were all holding our collective breaths on what we were going to do. But, as we wound down 2019, we kind of took ourselves off leads. At the previous company, it was a point of contention, with the cost associated with generating them, and just a different structure altogether. And, we said, hey, we'll take the comp, take us off leads, we'll do our own thing. And we found some ways, which, again, we'll share with you guys today, that you can blend in. I think that the key thing that I want to say today is make sure that you don't stop doing what you're doing, right? I mean, the way that Equus teaches, this business is really the way that it should be done, right? Mortgage protection, the internet leads, everything Kristen just talked about. And obviously leads aren't a problem here at Equus Financial like they are in some other companies. So continue to take advantage and do what you do. But the idea of the Index Universal Life policy, it's to blend it in. This is kind of like in addition to. I really want to stress, today's call, you don't want to stop doing what you're doing and try to take this on. I think that would be detrimental to the success you're already having. So I'll just kind of step back and tell you guys, I've been in this business now almost 10 years now, believe it or not. It seems like an eternity in some senses, and I feel like I just got here in others. I certainly didn't maybe really start with the Index Universal Life, program, but it was certainly something that I thought about initially when I was interviewing for the job. And I'll tell you why. My wife and I own a restaurant here in the Philadelphia market. We just hit our 23rd year in March. I was in the bit, I guess probably when I got started in this business, right? I mean, I was like 12 years in at our restaurant. I always kind of joke about it. We put $5,000 into a Vanguard IRA only because my mother and father-in-law wouldn't let up on us about, plan for your future, plan for your future, plan for your future. I mean, they had, a good job with a pharmaceutical company, and benefits were benefits, and a lot of things they have don't exist anymore. But they were always honest about trying to set something up, for the future. So we started with, $5,000 in a Vanguard account. And if I were to show you guys the statements, they're probably, still about $5,000 today. We opened it up and then never contributed to it. I always say the best part of those 401ks is the fact that we never see the money. But when you're in business for self, right, there are no 401ks, there are no pensions. We didn't have any of those things. So when I went on my interview, which was American General Life and Accident, which today is AIG Financial Network, one of the first things they were talking about was, the Index, Universal Life, right? So the living benefits, they were claiming to be one of the first companies to ever do that. So I saw the value, obviously, in living benefits. Obviously, as business owners, that would be important. Make sure that if something happened to us or we didn't pass away, we ended up sick, that we had something in place that could keep things moving forward. But the other thing that really caught my attention was the conversation about, cash value life insurance, something that could be an alternative to that 401k. Because until that time, I really didn't know what else was out there. So I would tell you guys, it was always something that, I guess was a part of my business early on. I was my own first client. My wife was number 2. We implemented, these Index Universal Life policies just to give us a chance to have, all the living benefits, but then also, the cash accumulation, because we didn't have anything else. And as time has worn on, we contribute. My wife and I each do $600 a month, and we do $100 a month for each kid. So, $1,400 a month on just Index Universal Life coverage. That doesn't count for the term that we have. We're products of the product, right? So we're not, out there talking to people about doing something that we aren't doing ourselves. we've got a lot of this coverage. And again, we kind of grew into it as we started doing a little bit better in our businesses. We added to that. But we wanted to be able to make sure that we had a plan for the future. And so when you kind of put Laurie and I's policies together, it looks pretty good. It's really interesting when you take a look at my kids when they were 5 and 12 when I put them in place. I don't know what they're going to do over the course of their lifetime, what they're going to do as far as their career is concerned. But if they never touch these policies, until they're over the age of 60. My daughter will have 1.3 million in her policy. And my son, he's probably going to be upset with us because he's going to fall short of his sister and have about 875,000. That's just the difference in age and something you talk about leaving a legacy. We all are on this call probably wishing mom and dad could have done it for us, but it just wasn't available back then. So we're just taking advantage of something that's out there now, not necessarily something that we're going to use for college, but it could be in the sense that, we're contributing to it. Maybe we help, pay for those college costs up front, but on the back end, we have the policy. It's accumulating cash. Maybe we can repay ourselves at a later time, which I'll touch on in a few minutes. But that's just kind of how things got started for us. And as I kind of got going through my career, we got away from that a bit. And, we were just kind of focused in on some of the IMOs we were at. They really just focus in on, mortgage protection, but they only want you right in term and whole life. And you'd catch a little bit of stuff if you were writing some of these other policies. They just didn't want to deal with it. Which was unfortunate. So I kind of got away from something that was I was passionate about, that I really believed in. And it wasn't until probably about 2 years ago, myself and the group, we just decided to dig back in. One of the things I'll mention to you, there are 2 books. And John, they're not going to be as expensive as that book that you bought the other day. In fact, you probably could get about 10 or 15 of them for the price of that one book that you have. But the one you guys want to read, if you're interested in IULs, is Tax-Free Retirement by Patrick Kelly. Really great book. If you're new to the IUL concept, which I'm going to dig on some things now, that's one of the books that I read, early on that really kind of opened my eyes to what we have our hands on. As John says, A Sleeping Giant. And the other one is The New Rules of Retirement Savings by Martin Ruby. If you read those 2 books, you pretty much get everything that you need to know out of them. In fact, one of the things that we did with the New Rules of Tax-Free Retirement, they're so inexpensive, like less than $10 a book. I bought a whole bunch of them, early on, probably a couple of years ago, and I actually would hand those out to my clients. It was just one of the ways that we would, generate interest, with the Index Universal Life program, was just by handing a book, let them read it, and then we'd follow back up and see what questions they had. I mean, that's just, one concept. But what we started to do really, like, I guess over the last few years is, mortgage protection is really always going to be your best advanced market leads. Talk to Pete Lee about this a lot. We have spent a lot of money. I mean, I spent $2,000 a month, last year, with, a company called Juicebox, and they generate IUL leads. And not saying it's not a great platform, but it's expensive, and the average person isn't going to be able to take that on. They want $6,000 for the first 90 days and $2,000 beyond that. I've done dinner seminars for for annuities, which were $5,000 a piece. I did 5 of them inside of 1 year. 25 grand on dinner seminars, which, look, sometimes you get people, they can't even speak English, or they have no interest in the the business itself. They're just out for a free meal. Lonely seniors, and we love them all. It's just all part of the process. But I mean, it's a lot to go through to generate some of that kind of business. And then as recently as last year, just spending $300 a piece on leads. $350, I think, at one point with a company, and they were supposed to be preset appointments, and people never showed up. So, I mean, I've tried a lot of different things. I've kind of put my money where my mouth is to say that, leads are leads or leads are leads. They can work. You really got to work them, but the average person, out there isn't going to be willing to spend that kind of money to generate leads. And I still come back to saying the best mortgage protection, the best Index Universal Life lead, and even the annuity lead is off of mortgage protection or life leads, bottom line. And that's what we're going to talk about here over the next little bit. Is just some of the questions that we ask. Now, unfortunately, Todd couldn't join us today. I do have Travis. Hey, John, it's Chesson. Man, you got to let it roll off your tongue. He's from the deep south down in Louisiana, and Travis Chesson. So that last name's even cooler than you thought it was. And I'm super excited to have him come on with us here in a few minutes. But what I want to do is I'm going to give you guys a couple of things here I thought a lot about this over the weekend. How could I help you out, to be able to generate, this kind of business, for yourselves? And then we could talk all day about, how you properly structure them and things like that. But I'm going to encourage all of you to utilize the carriers for that. You guys heard Todd talk about it a few months ago. It's not that, we didn't want Pete Lee or Bill Martin's help, but in the beginning, we didn't even know that department existed. The fact that they have, obviously the retirement solutions division here is phenomenal, because no other IMO is doing that. In fact, one of the things I tell, these guys all the time, I was a little apprehensive at joining Equus because I thought I was going to have to come over here and potentially give up on some of the things that I was doing. When I found out that they had a retirement solutions division, that we could keep doing some of the IUL and annuity business, that was something that they really encouraged us to do. I was all in at that point. And so, what I will tell you to do is utilize the carrier. Nobody knows the programs and products better. It's not that I can't go to some of the guys, the upline leaders here, and get the information from them, but I want to be the CEO of my own operation. And I know that I can utilize the call, that there are departments that are there and have jobs specifically for all of us agents. And they can't wait to have those conversations. In fact, I find it sometimes it's difficult to hang up because they don't want to let you go until you have, everything that you need. So utilize those departments and let them run your illustrations early on. I mean, they'll walk you through it. I did it with Columbus Life and one of our agents a couple weeks ago. I'm not familiar with them. We jumped on the phone. They spent about a half an hour walking us through some of the bullet points. And then we have the confidence moving forward to potentially use, to use that product. So just call the carrier, get the information from them. Read those couple books that I mentioned. If you want to add this into your business and get comfortable, that's one of the ways that you can do it. And then, utilize, the upline leaders that are more familiar with the product. So I thought some of the best ways that I could help today, right? And I'll turn this over we'll get to Travis in just a couple minutes, and he can kind of validate some of the things we're talking about here. But I took the time, to type this out, and I can get it out to everybody, because I think that this is going to be something, if you can add in, can really change your business. John talked about, taking this to 2 million submit. And I'm convinced that we don't need to add one more agent to the team to hit that number if we just start asking some of the right questions. Okay, I know Mike Hall has a goal now, and I'm all in with that. Is, we're looking to have a 1 million submit, through Trustworthy. And again, we don't have to add one more agent if we just start asking some of these questions. And as we continue to expand, we do hire agents and we teach them how to do this. I mean, God, the sky's the limit. And as far as this goes, again, this thing never leaves the front of me now. What we can all do for ourselves, our agencies, the business here. I mean, the sky truly is, obviously a limit for all of that. But I wanted to dig in and just talk to you guys a little bit about, what we've done. We talk about, how we go out and we obviously have some individuals out there that we talk to, and Travis and Todd and some of these other guys do a really good job of asking these questions. But they've always taken care of the client first with mortgage protection, right? If we've got a mortgage protection lead, we're going to give them what they're asking for. That's to protect the mortgage. But asking some questions, we're going to be able to uncover some, some other ideas that they may have. And I told you guys, it's the one question that we ask, right? We have all of our agents talking about it is, early in the conversation, we asked the question, what do you have in place right now, in the way of 401k, 403b, TSP, right? Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, any money buried in the backyard. Usually gets a laugh out of them. But hey, specifically, do you have any old 401k accounts that, just kind of been converted over to IRAs? Any old 401ks, right? And like I said, you just earmark that question, right? And I'll quickly follow up. Now, the reason I'm asking that question is these are all beneficiary designated accounts. So in an effort to make some recommendations as we move forward, I'd like to know what you have in place if something were to happen to you today. Now, they'll tell us they have the 401k, and the key part is to ask them, what is that for? Now, that's for my retirement. We know that's what it's for, but I want to make sure that they say that out loud. Anything that they have, what is it for? Why? Because we're not going to get to the end and have them think, well, I don't need this mortgage protection. I'll just tap into my 401k if I have a problem. No. You said that was for your retirement, right? So we can always go back on that. But remember, the point of asking that question is not to do anything with it. You're there for mortgage protection. You're going to keep doing what it is that you need to do. And at the very end, as you're wrapping up, you can go back. Hey, listen, John, you had mentioned that, you have a 401k. Are you happy with how that program's currently performing? And how, you're happy with how it's performing. And it just depends on when you ask, what type of answer you're going to actually get. And usually what we'll look to do is we say, hey, look, if we could, show you a program that will allow you to participate in the upside of the market, without any downside risk, would you be willing to take a look? Absolutely, they would. So it's like when we go back on policy delivery, what we used to do, and still do now, what we were doing, last year without leads, is we would go back, with a $500 a month illustration, but we'd only go back with about 6 pages of that illustration, not all 26. So there are 6, important pieces that, we could on another call kind of come up with what those 6 pages look like, and could take you guys, through how you'll have the conversation with it. But that's what we were doing. So it's kind of going back, so getting that additional policy or two, on the client that we'd already taken care of with mortgage protection. The other thing the agents got really good at doing was going back, when you've been around a little while, on annual reviews. So if we didn't get that up front, we would get it on an annual review. I mean, the Equis dashboard does a really great job of letting you know when the client's birthdays is, when those annual reviews come up. So if you've been around a little while and you dig in on it, this is a conversation you can go back on, right? And then, just dealing with individuals that have 401ks, like I mentioned in last week's call, we're not telling people to do away with the 401k. The 401k is great, but its only purpose is to get that free money. Deferring a little bit of taxes, above and beyond the match, only to pay that, and obviously the retired years when taxes have, most likely going to go on up, doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me. Not when we can reallocate those funds into an IUL and give them, a tax-free accumulation to go along with the 401k. So it's a, companion product, right? It goes along with it. We're not looking to replace, we're just looking to reallocate the funds. So we've done a lot of that work as well. But I thought to myself, and I wrote it down, here's a simple question, and you guys don't necessarily have to write it down. I can get it in the hands of John and Mike Hall, and they can get it out. But this is a question you're going to want to ask if you're brand new. You're saying, how can I add in Index Universal Life business? You don't have to know it all to go out and have the conversation. And this is one of those questions, okay, that you're going to be able to ask that's going to take a lot of weight off your shoulders, but still give you an opportunity to have a lot of success while you learn the product, right? Here it is. Mr. Client or Mrs. Client, right? In whatever case you're in. I appreciate your confidence in me to help manage your risk associated with mortgage protection, life insurance. I mean, basically, whatever existing service you help them with, you can add that in. One of the areas I'm expanding my business this year is educating my clients on diversification of retirement savings. I have been training on how indexed universal life fits in a financial plan. If it's okay with you, I'd like to ask for your help. If you're okay with helping me better learn this side of the business, I would like to complete a short fact finder, which I can provide to you, just a handful of questions, okay, which will help me get more comfortable with the questions I need to be asking to best gather the relevant information with my clients. From there, I'll take that information back to my office and work with my internal support teams at the various insurance companies to review if an IUL has a place in your portfolio. Best case scenario is we identify a gap and can help educate you on what you might be able to do better. Worst case is we find your portfolio is well positioned and I walk away with a great learning experience. Either way, it will be incredible value for both of us. My fact finder takes roughly 15 minutes. Do you have any questions before we start? Now, it's not going to take you quite 15 minutes. It might take you about 10 minutes to run through. But at the very end of the day, you've already helped them with mortgage protection. You simply get comfortable with asking that question. You just simply ask that question and you're going to get a lot of you've already got the trust and rapport. You've already built, the relationship with the client. I'm going to apologize about that little dog right now. There's not going to be much I'm able to do about it now. Contractors here doing our basement, and any noise they make, that's what I'm dealing with. So my apologies, right? So anyhow, basically what you have is, that being a big question that you can ask your clients. All right. Now we can do something, very simple on, we talk about it with kids, and going back to some of the clients that you've worked with in the past, and it's, hey, client name, I hope you're doing great. I wanted to quickly reach out to you and let you know we have a new program designed for children that is a great alternative to traditional 529 college saving plans. At a minimum, I think you should learn about it, and I'd love to give you a high-level overview. I have availability this week on Tuesday or Thursday for a short 15-minute call. Do either of those days work for you, right? So that's a way to kind of dig in and talk about how you can help with the children, right? You understand how you can do it. Like I said, with that first one that I wrote down and typed out for you guys, again, it just takes all of the heat off of you. You're learning, all right? And, it's a very honest way of basically digging in and seeing how you can help them. And my experience is honesty goes a long way in this business. See, too many times we make the mistake of thinking we need to know it all before we have the conversation. And that's where a lot of opportunity is lost, right? Talking to the kids. And one of the other things we got really good at, okay, especially with business owners. I mean, you go back to my wife and I, you're still running that business today. A couple of the IULs we got were from some local business owners, for myself specifically. And I know Travis, people that are in business. So you can send a text, you can send an email, right? And again, hey, John, I hope you're doing great. The reason I'm reaching out is that I was recently introduced to a program that made me think of you. Like most business owners, I'm assuming you have some type of cash reserves in your business that are likely sitting in a low yielding account. We have a program that will allow you to earn more on those reserves while still keeping them liquid. On top of that, you can leverage them to fund any buy, sell, or key man agreements. Now you can use that depending on, what type of business that you're talking to, but there is a possibility to do some of those things with business owners. It's a really interesting program that business owners are buzzing about. I'd love to give you a high level overview. Do you have 15 minutes this Thursday or Friday for a short call? Right. So one of the ways that we've always dug in and generated this business, with or without a lead, is asking some of these questions here. And Travis is going to dig on that. He's going to take, basically the last, 15 minutes or so and just kind of talk on how he was able to go out and do, just what we talked about. Right. And so again, there's this conversation is one you could have for a couple hours. I mean, you talk about IULs and all the training that can go along with it. But for the purpose of today's call and thinking about how we can accomplish some big goals here this summer, it really just hinges on, like I said, keep doing what you're doing. So here's the great news. We have leads here. You're already making money. You're already taking care of clients. Just blend in some questions. You don't have to go out and find the people. You've already talked to them and you're going to continue talking to them. Just learn how to ask some of these questions and then, go back behind the scenes and do the work, with the insurance carrier. They'll help you, run the illustration. They'll give you all of the bullet points to go out and have the talk. And you'll be able to go back, to that appointment with a little bit of confidence. And I'm always here to help as well, right? Like I said, we're all in this thing together. So any questions specifically people have, I'm certainly happy to help. But what I like to be able to do now, I'm going to bring on my man, Travis. He's my brother in this business. He and I have a great working relationship. We've worked together for about 5 years about 5 years now. Travis, again, didn't really begin in this business selling IULs, but what he was able to do was blend in, the conversation, the questions in the conversation. He's going to talk a little bit about that over the next 15. But John mentioned it, 13,000 issue paid really in only probably his second month. I mean, he's really only been with us about 8 or 9 weeks now. I mean, I'd say it's probably been about 8 weeks, 60 days he's been with us. But that first month, you're waiting on your contracting, and everything to go through. So really in his first full month, out there doing the deal, he did 65,000 was what he submitted. 13,000, that's, already issue paid, obviously a lot more to come. And he's got an awful lot that he's, working on here to kick off the month of June, kind of start the month of June the way that he finished May. But here's the interesting part. 65,000 was that capped, volume. And if he didn't have the cap, he probably would have been a little closer to 100,000 in business in his very first month with us. So I'm really excited to bring on Travis. I'm going to just kind of run you through here. Keep this easy for him. We now can put a face with the name. Everybody's wondering who this guy is. How's he? What he's doing? Is he lucky? Is he one-hit wonder? All of these things, right? It's just somebody maybe coming over and having a little bit of luck, from where they were previously. But I know Travis. I know this is something he's done quite a bit over the course of his career, and I'm excited to have him on. So, we'll just kind of go through a little interview process, Travis, right? That way I could kind of, I know you felt that would be best for you here, just to kind of help you with the call. Why don't you tell these guys a little bit about, yourself?
Okay.
Where you're living at, and look, man, bottom line, how did you go out and have a $65,000, first month submit, where you've already issue paid over 13,000 of that, and just, inside of 4 weeks, how you been able to do that?
Well, first of all, Joe and John, thank you guys for having me on the call. It's always a gift to be able to share experience with others, because the only reason I've been able to do what God allows me to do is because of guys like you. I've been with Joe for 5 years, and the main thing for me, I want to preface my success, because it's not really my success. It's God's. He works through me, and because I'm a big relationship guy down here in South Louisiana, it's still a lot of handshake type business, right? A lot of old school guys, a lot of all field money down here, and there's a lot of integrity involved. So if I tell somebody something, I'm going to do it, right? And so what happened for me was, as my business evolved with Joe, I learned real quickly that if I'm going to sell price, value doesn't matter. So if I'm going to sell value, well, then price really doesn't matter. And so what happened, it changed my business. The Index Universal Life product changed my business completely. I went from making, $40,000 a year. I'll do over $350 this year, just doing Index Universal Life, because we finally found the right platform. We had three previous platforms that we're kind of doing some backcountry road driving, and now we're on the freeway. We have all the marketing opportunity here. And like Joe said, he made it real clear. What I do is I work on the relationship whenever I make the phone call. It starts from scheduling the appointment. I solidify who I am and what I'm trying to do to help them and add value to their life from that moment on. That way, when I get to the home, they're already going to see that I'm clean cut, well dressed, and I put myself in a position to make it about them, not about me. And man, I got to tell you, I'm shocked at $65,000 a month. I got in this business. Joe told me, if you're doing $20,000 a month consistently, you up to something in this business. And so I was able to do that in a short period of time. And so now to come to Equus, my first full month, I've got a lot of relationships that I've built over the last 5 years. And this F&G IUL, second to none. And as far as max accumulation, if you without getting too technical into the product, what I've been able to do, having a gift, right? I got a math degree, so I understand numbers. And so the questions, what I do is just what Joe said. I start out and I ask them, do you have any 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, money buried in the backyard? And if they say yes, I ask them, okay, well, what is that for? And I earmark it. That way I'm overcoming an objection before it even comes up. I ask them specifically what those items are for. And then once I have all that information out in front of me, I'll just ask them, well, when I come back out and deliver the policy, is it okay if I show you something that may add some value to your retirement income? And 9 out of 10 times, absolutely, man. If it's about me having tax-free money and extra income stream in my retired years, I'm absolutely interested in doing that. And so, Joe, that's where it starts. And, normally when I go out, depending upon who I'm meeting with, it's either a $250 to $500 a month illustration. And that's kind of some of the numbers you're seeing. I'd like to see what my average premium is. But if I wouldn't have been capped, it'd have been over 100,000 for sure. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it just is what it is. We understand why that's done. And, we just kind of go ahead and do what it is we have to do. But, you talk about the relationships, but I think the key part here is to make sure that everybody understands, where those relationships really began, right? And
Yep.
You did an excellent job, working with Brett and I, previously, doing strictly mortgage protection. So, I mean, like I said, it didn't start, obviously, maybe where it is in the month of May. Now, we had the conversation today, and so that everybody knows that, we have to, keep leads are a very important part of our business, right? So, even you and I
Sure.
are going to, get on and start digging in on some of these leads just to keep things moving forward, right? We take advantage of what we have here. But maybe just tell those individuals that, maybe just getting started or you're relatively new to the business, how you actually develop those relationships through mortgage protection, and how, early on, obviously you were able to go back and help those clients, but where you really excel. And I heard John Kight talking about this through one of his posts, referrals. You got really, really good at the referral business. So maybe talk a little bit about that.
Well, the first thing I want to say too, before that, Joe, is mentorship is important. Early on, Joe told me, he said, if you do these things that I've done, you'll get these things. And it was real specific information. And so I tested it early on. Joe, I think you remember that. You said, if you go out and you make these dials and you do these things, this is what the numbers are. And man, I did it. And the first time I did it and it worked, I'll never forget my first B lead list I had, man. I was nauseated. I was, sick to my stomach. I didn't want to make one phone call because it had been years I'd been out the business, And so I made 2 phone calls, man, and they didn't answer. And the third phone call I made, I did $172 a month term policy on a guy, and they still friends to this day. They call me twice a year. We go eat together, family. Like, it blew my mind that I could go out, drive my vehicle and work for 1 hour, and the return on that time would be whatever it was at my contract at that time. It was more money than I'd made in a month.
Travis,
and I was like,
tell them real quick. I have to interject. Tell them where I talked you off the roof, literally, right?
yeah. And at the time, I told Joe, I don't know if I'm quite ready to get back into the business yet. And I was packing shingles on a roof at 46 years old for $10 an hour. And so finally going through, John was talking about mental toughness, man. That's what it takes. And so what I've learned early on, some will, some won't next. Can't really keep my emotions and feelings involved, or thoughts for that matter, just trying to help people. And what my experience is, genuinely, when you're genuine about what you're doing and you coming from a heartfelt place, people will feel that. And so I didn't even say that, but what guides my business is spirit. I do a lot of spiritual disciplines. I'm a big prayer and meditation guy. And so in the morning, before these calls and before my day starts, I'm in silence with a power that's much greater than all of us. And what I like to do is just ask for direction, show me who needs what we have here at Equus, where I can add some value to their lives. And that's kind of what happened in the month of May, man. That's what I did day in and day out. And intuitively, I would know who to call or who to follow up with. And the results speak for themselves, So.
No, absolutely. And, I know that what we talked about too, going back and working on some of the leads and, going back out there to do it. So just, I know we'll gain some clarity here, just on the piece. So if you went out to, say it's a mortgage protection lead, which, you've had plenty of, 20 to 30,000 AP months. And I know
Sure.
65,000, that would have been, you would have been number 1 by a landslide. We laugh about it here over the weekend. Travis finished number 5. So, it's a great month, but man, there are some incredible individuals, writing some business here. I mean, the numbers are pretty serious on this platform, right? So we're just
unreal.
Happy to be in the mix, right? But blending back in some of the leads. So you go back out and do your mortgage protection lead. What will that conversation look like in the end? And then on policy delivery, how did you go about getting them interested in the Index Universal Life product?
So what I do on a policy delivery, I go into the home and I solidify the initial conversation, which was to protect their house, right? So we go over all the stuff. I'll go over the living benefits with them real specifically. So if they have a heart attack, cancer, stroke, these are the qualifiers, these are the percentages, and I'm pretty thorough about that stuff. And then we get back to the retirement conversation, and I go back over the questions that I asked them in the previous visit whenever we signed them up for the mortgage protection. And then I remind them, well, you have a 401k here, you have a IRA here, and this is for college tuition, this is for retirement. Take a look at this. And then I'll show them an illustration, and I'll show them how if they put this much money away, and each case is different. So you have to do a few to kind of learn what's going on. But most of the time I'm able to show them how either currently they're spending the money and they can move that money to the IUL, or if they have it in their budget, they can put this much money away and add an additional tax-free income stream. Tax-free is the key, guys, for me. Because so many 401ks, and even with a Roth, you can only put so much money in a Roth annually. I deal with a lot of high income earners, right? So they can put up to an unlimited amount of money in these IULs, and so it's real attractive. But Joe, to answer your question specifically, just following what you said early on, ask the questions about what they currently have, and get them warm and fuzzy about their retirement, and how serious that is, and how there's such a lack of savings in this country today. And once they see that and they feel that and it's heartfelt, then they know I have their best interest in mind, and it 8 out of 10, close. once that's done the right way. It took a minute though, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think one of the things you got really good at was just kind of identifying, right? If you have that conversation about retirement, I mean, most of the people that we meet with, you know, they don't think they have enough. I mean, and one of those individuals, unfortunately, was my mother. I asked her, you know, when she thought she was going to retire, she made a joke and then she started crying, you know, because she thought she struggled with us through her 30s and then her 40s would be better. And she had the same conversation in her 40s and 50s. And then she said, you know, I've gotten to a place with my father's health, you know, before he unfortunately passed, man, I'm, you know, struggling more now than ever. And when is it going to get better? And the idea of retirement, you know, it just didn't, she didn't think it was possible. And so, you know, she has one of these plans that she's now able to overfund. It is all about, you know, proper structure, which, you know, can be a conversation for another day, but it's all about making sure these programs are structured properly, which the insurance carriers help with, to kind of meet the needs, you know, of where these individuals want to be. But, you know, giving them an opportunity where they see that they're falling short to really be able to make it up through a tax-free program is what you've done well. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm keeping obviously an eye on the time, you know, and maybe make sure I give this back to John here in just a second. But I guess, you know, the best last question here, right, would be to just, as you're talking to everybody here in Cornerstone, you know, there's new people that have been around a while. What advice, you know, would you give to them as you kind of part ways, right? Like I said, we know that you didn't begin here, but you know, you just kind of started to blend it in, and you know, now you're an expert in the product, right? So, what advice would you leave to the team here as far as just being able to take this on for all that it stands for with this new comp plan, and obviously basing it on target premium, not a $5,000 cap? You know, what message would you leave behind?
The main thing I would say, like I said, Joe, is mentorship, accountability, set some goals. And most importantly, like I said, where there's value, price really doesn't matter. And if I'm stuck on price, then value doesn't matter. So what I learned as an agent under your tutelage is how to focus on asking the right questions so the value of the conversation increases. And then when the value of the conversation increases, price really doesn't become an issue. And then not only does price not become an issue, the premiums go way up, and so does my income. And I just made 51 Saturday, Joe. We talked about it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to run 60 hours a week in the field like I used to, right? So all I learned how to do was increase the value of the things that I'm trying to do, and my income went right there with it. So now I can work 30 hours a week and make $350 instead of working 20 hours a week or 60 hours a week to make 110. You know what I mean? And I don't say that with arrogance or ego, man. I say that with humility, because it all starts in spirit for me, man. I take suggestions from this wonderful God that we all serve. And as long as my heart's in the right place, man, things just kind of unfold right in front of me like they're supposed to, Joe. So that's, if you're new, don't let it overwhelm you. Don't get, how Brett Grossman used to say it, don't get paralysis by analysis. You don't have to know everything. Just get in front of people. That's what I did. Got good at getting in front of people and feeling uncomfortable. And then it started getting easier and easier, man. You know, that's about it.
Well, some of the things that we did in finishing, right, you know, like Pete Lee talked about at our leadership conference, you know, talking about teeing it up. You know, so if you're brand new and you're you know, worried about getting hit with a question you don't have an answer to, tee it up. You know, you have somebody in the organization that you can hand it off to. You know, you'd be the mortgage protection specialist, and you know, you can, and you've done a great job of that. We just did that with the Saltzmans, you know, obviously not that long ago. And could you have had that conversation about the annuities? Probably, most definitely. But you knew when to get yourself out of the way and allow, as you kind of, you know, the specialist to come in, and you know, that kind of strengthened the relationship you have with them. And now we're all friends. Yeah. If I lived in the South, I'd be over for dinner too. They don't do that stuff in Philadelphia, man. They don't feed you the way they do down in Louisiana, but you know, not up here. It's a little tougher than that. But ultimately, you know, just teeing it up. So, you know, maybe allowing the specialist, right? You know, just being an extension of the service you provided is, hey, we have a retirement solutions division, and then you're making an introduction to Joe, and then, you know, let the upline manager step in and help out. And you know, we ultimately did is split the commissions on that stuff. So, you know, between the questions that, you know, we can send out that we teach you to ask, if, you know, you're brave enough to ask them, I mean, we can make it simpler yet. And that's just by teeing it up and letting somebody help you out, and then go along for that ride. And that's some of the stuff we did early on. So, you know, John, I know you're out there, man. Hopefully, I'm looking at 11 o'clock here at the top of the hour. Hopefully this, you know, was a good place for us to start. I think this is one of those ongoing conversations, but I really believe that, this is something that absolutely has to be blended, back into, the conversation, right? An add-on and in addition to. And Travis, listen, man, I wanted to just thank you for taking time with us today. I know you're busy and you're going to be off and running now beyond this call, but thank you for, for sharing with everybody today. We're really great to see you on here. And John, obviously with that, man, I'll turn it back over to you if you have any other additional questions. Otherwise, I'll just let you finish things out. Thanks again for the opportunity to share.
Hey, thank you so much, Joe, and thank you, Travis. Man, I loved it. Loved the things that both of you shared. The thing that I love most is every single thing that you shared today. It was totally duplicatable, and it's like we all can do it. I'm sitting here kicking myself because I'm going, man, how brilliant is that? And sorry for Gracie Bell being in the background. Like you, Joe, there's nothing I can do about it right now. I can't go grab her and pull her out, but how much more production could I have written? How much more income could I have made? How many more of my clients could I have helped be better off if I would have just taken their information, run an illustration, run an Index Universal Life illustration, and just slide it by, maybe even take it by when you deliver the policies, or maybe slide it by at some point in time. Maybe even take the liberty of running the illustration and bringing it on an annual review. I mean, how much more income and how much better would I have been able to serve my clients if I'd have done that? I will tell you what, guys, I hope every single one of you, if you're like me, I hope that you're right now targeting, and maybe you don't take a block of time today. Maybe you go do your business, right? But hopefully over this summer months, you will be able to take your time, and every single client you have, run an illustration. Make a point, if they're older, not healthy enough for an IUL, drop them off a CRM brochure, talk about, fixed index annuities, whatever. But I'm going to tell you what, guys, retirement solutions, okay, what we called advanced markets, okay, which I think we went a long way to let people know advanced markets is not advanced. It's just what it's called, right? It's just the ways we can serve our clients above, in advanced ways we can serve our client above final expense and mortgage protection. But I hope that you see the opportunity that you have, and I hope that you go take advantage of the next 90 days and you go explode your contract level. I promise you, every single manager worth their salt, they want you to be at the highest comp level that you can be. Why? Because the higher your comp level, the more money you make, the happier you are. And you know what? The more money you make, the happier you are. Possibility that you're going to go out there and attract 5, 6, 7 people that want to be in your agency. Guys, income and success attracts. Last thing I'll say is this. Travis, you're speaking my language, buddy. I think that all growth at some point in time, I think that all growth is in that spiritual realm. And I love your spiritual disciplines. I love how you start each day. Man, it's going to be so much fun to sit here and cheer your success on, buddy. And but I am so proud of you. I'm so absolutely thankful that you and Joe and Brett and the entire Brett Grossman I'm so thankful that you guys are here. It's amazing what y'all are doing. So big shout out to Zozo Capital. Love you guys. Have a great week. Bye-bye.